straight to the moon. Get your ticket now. Everybody line up, get your tickets. We're going. Did you buy the tip? Yeah. Do you like rocket ships? Oh, what yeah. You wanna try this shit? Yeah. We got everything you need. You better buy some bitty now. Everybody, long live Ponzi. Everybody, long live Ponzi ride. Never short it. Bitcoin's back, alright.
Alrighty, people, rock and roll. It is, let me just think, Thursday, the 3rd of June, 2021. Welcome to Satoshi's Bitcoin Chart Show. This is the Bitcoin forecast, the strength of the system, the health of the network, where we're going to try and dedicate each show to a bit of a celebrity. Who knows, might get their attention one day. So today's show is going to be dedicated to this guy. Check it out. Nouriel Roubini, who is apparently going to the CoinGeek conference, probably going to tell everybody that Bitcoin's a load of crap because he doesn't actually understand what it is. So today I'm going to just try and go through the fundamentals and actually explain that Bitcoin is a commodity, not a security, and not a scam coin currency like the entire crypto market currently is. So Nouriel Roubini, if you do ever listen to my show, welcome. All I'm just simply going to do is explain to you what you might have overseen or overlooked and how Bitcoin is a commodity and not a security. So without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Here we go. So what you need to understand here is that Craig Wright, aka Satoshi Nakamoto, has created a commercial version of the internet. Now, in order for the internet to be a commercial version of the internet, it has to be a commodity because it cannot have a central point of authority, control, or influence. Because if it did have that, data just simply wouldn't be safe. It would be too powerful to be in the hands of a central organization. So he's created a decentralized, distributed single ledger. Now, this ledger is effectively, the world's greatest data management system, and Bitcoin is the commodity. Bitcoin is the asset that economically sustains this network. This network being the metanet, where anyone and everyone can upload their own personal data to it, where they will have data sovereignty, data security, data efficiencies. And the way they do that is by paying the mining, which is the process of uploading the data onto the blockchain, with Bitcoin. That is what Bitcoin is. It is an asset that provides data sovereignty through monetary sovereignty. It is just absolutely sensational. That's really how you have to think of it. A network that anyone and everyone can have access to through the use of Bitcoin. And again, Bitcoin should be accessed by anyone and everyone anywhere in the world, and that's why the network is growing. But there are obviously forces who don't want this and just simply seem to think that Bitcoin is a fiat currency along with all these other scam coins. Now, it's these 5 pillars here of decentralization that make Bitcoin a commodity. And the most important one being accountability. So how do you prevent a centralized group of developers from literally just centralizing control of the network? Well, it's accountability. It is accountability that protects us, not anonymity. And I have actually written an article on this. So, if you're watching my show and you want some more information on this, please feel free to reach out. I will DM you links to all of the articles that I've written. I've even written one here, Bitcoin Fundamentals for Financial Regulators. And by the way, anybody else sees this, please feel free to forward this on if you do have contacts with regulators who actually sort of are curious about Bitcoin and what it's actually meant to be. So you can see I have actually done my work here, Nouriel. I've gone to town on this, with all these different parts of Bitcoin. Just explaining the fundamentals of it, like the theory behind it. So this one, getting there. God, didn't realize I'd written so much. They're all good. There we go. Look at this. Bitcoin. It's accountability, not anonymity. That protects us. That is the whole point. So how do you hold everybody accountable? Well, it's the chain of signatures. This is what is so important about the chain of signatures. You can always tell when a group of developers has nefarious intentions, because the first thing they will tamper with is the chain of signatures. So for example, we've got Blockstream implementing SegWit, segregating the signatures, but they called it SegWit, segregating the witness, to confuse people. It doesn't take a lot to confuse the BTCers. And then you've got Bcrash that were implementing Cash Fusion and Schnorr signatures and all these kind of things that basically makes it regulatory uncompliant, which effectively means it's illegal and utterly worthless because international trade and global commerce can never use it. A locked protocol, if it can't be changed, no one can control it. Infinite scale just means that there is always new market for miners to compete for. Competition in the competition in the form of proof of work to separate those entities economically sustaining the network, and a fixed supply, which again means nobody can control it. All these things are what make Bitcoin neutral. And to give the starting point credibility, he released the white paper on the 31st of October 2008, but didn't start the network until the 3rd of January 2009. Now, if he knew how to start the network, why would he have provided that amount of time? It was because he knew that because he created the network, it was up to him to provide the reasonable amount of time for anyone and everyone to start the network themselves, which is why he released it to a cryptographic mailing list, which was a group of extremely competent individuals who could have started the network at any time they wanted to, because he'd given the information to them. But the fact is they didn't, and then after leaving it 2 months and 4 days, he's like, okay, here we go, start the network myself under a pseudonym, step back from the project and just let the network grow organically. That is what makes it a commodity, and so long as these 5 pillars of decentralization are kept in check, then we have ourselves a global network without that central point of authority or control, making it a commodity and not a security. And it's going to be one of the most valuable commodities on earth because it offers data sovereignty. That is the utility and the application it provides. Think of the value about that. It is huge. So now we can upload our family photos and wedding videos to the network where we own that data. No large corporation has the ability to crack, hack, alter, change, delete it, wipe it out on a whim because they don't like maybe our political views or anything like that. People might say, oh, right, well, if we have sovereignty over our data, people are going to upload all sorts of things to it. Well, they can be tracked. So it literally uploading data. The same legal laws apply. You are responsible for that data. So if you upload naughty images, you will get caught and you will be identified and you will go to jail for that. That's the whole point. But as you can see with all the shenanigans that have gone on, BTC has since been tampered with, and I'm just going to chill out here and let other people explain what's gone on with the Bitcoin network. So first of all, we'll have Samson Mao, the Chief Strategy Officer at Blockstream, explaining that Blockstream control BTC now since they implemented SegWit on the 24th of August 2017, turning it into a security and an absolute shitcoin with no fundamental value whatsoever. Take the floor, Samson Mao.
Bitcoin was created by the central bankers that enslave you today. It is their scapegoat.
How do you answer those, Max and Stacey?
I think the evidence is clear that they do not control it. There's 10 years, almost 11 years now of track record.
Yeah, Blockstream controls it.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Who does?
Blockstream.
Ooh! Let's cue the nervous laughter.
Oh,
all right.
I was looking at you when I said that.
Yeah, I'm a block. I have a spy. I'm one of the spies. No. So this, it's an interesting. There's
speechless, Max. There, speechless. It is interesting. How do you reply to that? So now we're going to let another BTC influencer explain what's happened to Bitcoin. Take the floor, Peter McCormack.
Bitcoin is so different now from when Satoshi was here. It's a completely different project. It doesn't matter who Satoshi is anymore. Even if Satoshi came back, I don't think he would just be immediately welcomed as having this God-given right to decide what happens with Bitcoin. I think he would have to earn his right back into the project. Bitcoin is is built based on consensus now.
Like it wasn't before, Pete. And are you sure about that? Because it didn't sound like it to me. And next we're going to have an interview with, from Tony Vase by Daniel Kramitz. Have a listen to this.
Why do you think BTC is valuable?
It's valuable because it's the only unconfiscatable asset we have, and that is because that comes from its decentralization. I think Bitcoin is the only valuable crypto asset we have because of the nature of how it started in its first few years.
And when you say Bitcoin, you mean BTC, right?
Absolutely.
But are you aware that in 2017, they changed the rules so that BTC no longer follows the Bitcoin white paper?
That is not true at all.
The white paper says that there needs to be a chain of signatures.
Sure.
Okay, so that's not what we have anymore. That's how SEG would change that.
Okay, but it's still Bitcoin.
Love it. So you can see what happened there, basically. And then, so the protocol just simply continued under a new ticker symbol, a BCH, and obviously a different price tag, but the protocol still remained the same. And then another group of developers tried to do the same, tampering with the signatures, making it anonymous, making it so that it was illegal and that Global Trade and International Commerce couldn't use it. And that was led by Roger Ver. So have a listen to this.
I have a question here from Satoshi, defender of Bitcoin. He said, if a cryptocurrency is anonymous, like BCH, I don't think BCH is anonymous, but maybe there is something.
Check out cashfusion.com and you combine that with reusable payment codes and you get Bitcoin Cash in the same sort of ballpark of privacy as Monero. It's really awesome. So you can check out Cashfusion. And I always get it wrong. I think it's .com, but it might be .org. So you can check both. Cashfusion.com.
Okay, awesome. So BCH, maybe using Cash Fusion and XMR, if they're anonymous, how can a business get legal recourse against a supplier if the supplier defaults and no proof on the transaction exists because anon?
Yeah, if you want your cryptocurrency to be perfectly legal for everything all the time, just go use your Visa card. Just go use your PayPal, right? What do you need a cryptocurrency for? You can do all of it with a centralized, fully legal and fully compliant payment platform, right? So go use PayPal. I think you've missed the entire point. The entire point of cryptocurrencies is that by technological design, they are beyond the reach of the law. They're above the law. That's why, imagine if Bitcoin could have been shut down by governments, they probably would have shut it down from right out of the gate. And it's the fact that Bitcoin can't be shut down. We should ask the BSVers this: if they pass a law saying BSV needs to shut down their blockchain, are they going to obey and shut down their BSV blockchain? I hope the answer would be no. Which is just a lot of the stuff I see from some of these BSVers are silly. But then there's other BSV fans that, I'm very, very sympathetic to their way of thinking. But the ones that say that the blockchains all need to be legally compliant about everything all the time, just go use your Visa card.
Thank you, Roger, you absolute moron. You buffoon. So there we go. That's why we're left with Bitcoin here. Literally with the original protocol under the ticker symbol of BSV. Because it follows Satoshi Nakamoto's original design. So I've got to shoot off in a minute, so I'm going to make this show really short. But let's just see if we can get through all this real quickly. So there we go. Just have a look at this. So we've got Prev on the top left of the screen frame saying the price is 187, and CoinDart saying 186. Very good. Hash rate 0.5%. Network nodes 1.8. Transactions 52.1. Loving it. Over 50% of the network on Bitcoin. And 85.8% of the data flowing through the chain, which is why we require such a large block size. Great stuff. Let's just play spot the biggest block on Bcrash, but before we do that, we'll have a listen to Roger Ver calling it Bcrash himself.
And we're going to really spread Bitcoin Crash across the entire country here in Antigua.
Yes, you did hear that correct. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got 2.1. Is that it for Bcrash? Dear, oh dear, 2.1 megabytes. Shocking. And now we're just going to welcome Michael Saylor to the show. because he's always very enthusiastic about Bitcoin. So Michael, welcome to the show. Listen, I was thinking about changing Bitcoin and implementing SegWit, which would centralize the network and keeping the block size small, restricting it so that people can use it, and then we're going to implement replace by fee and child pays for parent and Lightning Network that would eventually starve the miners. What's your opinions on changing Bitcoin, Mike?
I like Bitcoin the way it is.
Oh well, you sound very enthusiastic. So do we, Michael. But we really love Bitcoin. How do you compete with that?
In fact, I love Bitcoin the way it is.
Oh well, you can't leave it there, Michael. You're going to have to explain yourself. What is it about Bitcoin that you love so much?
The way it's currently constructed, it is possible to put all $250 trillion of monetary energy.
Wow, $250 trillion of monetary energy. Love the sound of that. Where's that going to go?
In big blocks of encrypted energy on the blockchain.
Wow, they are big blocks, Michael. What kind of numbers are we talking about?
Maybe the Bitcoin will be $1 million. You can probably calculate $10 million of Bitcoin or something.
Whoa, $10 million per Bitcoin or something. How's that going to fit and where's it going to go?
Big blocks, $100 million chunks on the blockchain.
All right, let's have a look for those for you there, Michael. 1.5. Is that it? Dear, oh dear. 1.7 megabytes saved by the bell. Good grief. Anyway, let's have a look at Bitcoin, see what we've got here. 24 megabytes, 49 megabytes. And look at, remember, this is almost like 49 times that of the equivalent block on BTC already. 13, 28, 20, 31, 74, 15, 36, 18, 10. Loving that. So it's hash rate. Hash rate follows price, follows value, follows utility, follows creativity, initiative, and intelligence. If you are intelligent and you apply creativity and initiative, you can make something useful. When something is useful, it can then create value. When it creates value, it can then develop a price. When it develops a price, it can then be measured against the cost of other goods and services and used as a medium of exchange. Here we go. So we're just going to whip through these. Proof of work by network. Yeah. Bcrash Bitcoin hash rate. Bcrash Bitcoin proof of work. Yeah, stats there. Whoa, look at that. 25,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Coolcoin. And that is over mass, probably 12 times more cheaper than Bcrash as well. Love it. Look at that. Block size by network. Bitcoin absolutely smashing it today. Absolutely smashing it. Beautiful. Transactions by network, Bitcoin winning. Transactions per block by network, Bitcoin winning. Fees USD, again there's fees in the block due to transaction volume. Fees Satoshis, transaction volume. Block reward ratio, again we've got the ratio here. We'll monitor that with time because we're expecting increase in volume and price. Look at this, daily accumulated Bitcoin blockchain growth by network. You can see the gap. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. This is why I love Bitcoin, Nouriel, if you're watching my show. Oh, look at that. Love it. You can even expand the gap. Look at that. Yes, indeed. Magic. So we'll just check what the growth is of the chain. So it just means there's more data weight on chain. Let's see what CoinDance says. So 12.6 gigabytes more than BTC. Love it. Yeah. Let's have a look at the hash rate. Again, so hash rate 7 days, hash rate 24 hours. Coolcoin hash rate, probably the same. Yeah, almost identical. Bcrash, and this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin squeezing the shitcoin miners off the. Oh, look, F2 pool. Desperately wanting some. Look at that. 10.42 compared to 4.8 on Bcrash. I wonder if F2 pool knows. The biggest miner, it wouldn't surprise me. Do you know what I mean? Wow. Look at that. Oof. And good to see VAR BTC being squeezed. Good to see mempool ahead of them. And I got SV pool on there making an appearance. Good. We need to see Matterpool on there really. But Nouriel, the whole point of this is to squeeze the shitcoin enterprises off the chain who are artificially suppressing the price, which we'll look at now. Look at these shorts. So it started off at 92. Where are we now? Still 89. Dear oh dear, dear oh dear. Shitcoiners have no idea what they're doing. So this is the blockchain network working live in front of our very eyes. And if you wonder why I'm always absolutely amazed by this screen here, let me just refresh that. Whoa, here we go, rock and roll. Whoa, what's going on there? Whoa, 38 transactions per second. Look at something is going on. Whoa, look at that. And now let me show you what goes on behind the scenes. Let me show you what's responsible for generating those transactions. All these mining farms, all this hardware, all this investment is what goes into making the data secure. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So you can see the vertical rectangular blocks at the top. 103 transactions per second. Look at this. Something is going on. There's more right now, should I say. Woohoo! Loving this. So below are the transaction generators. As you can see, unrecognized 96%. Again, large corporations testing the network. Yes, indeed. So once the transactions are recognized by the nodes on the network, which are instantly, because it's an ultra small world network, they're then thrown into the memory pool, which is where they are computed for by the miners and payment processors in order to create a block, place the transaction within a block, and then put the block on the blockchain. Down here, as you can see, which is where they're rewarded with the Coinbase data, otherwise known as the block reward, otherwise known as freshly minted Bitcoin. So if we highlight one of these blocks here, you can see on this one here, 85.22 megabyte block, mined by Tau, the hash number, the height, the size, the time, the date, the transaction count, and the total fees in the block. Now we're just going to let Laura Shin explain the significance of the fees in the block right here. So I'm just going to find this Laura and here we go. Laura Shin is going to explain this well in her interview with Dan Hoddle. Here we go.
So, as you mentioned, at a certain point when the block reward stops, there will be a transition where miners will be compensated in transaction fees, not in the block reward. And the current amount that they earn is from fees is about 9% of the block reward. And so we'd have to see transaction fees 11x by roughly 2140, which is when the new Bitcoins will stop being minted. But I just wondered, if we don't see an increase in the amount of transactions that can happen at layer one, because the number of layer one transactions is limited. And right now, I feel like a lot of the scaling is focusing on layer two. Can transaction fees 11x in that time, or will that require people to pay a lot more per transaction?
The KPI for this for what we're looking at right now, which the question we're trying to answer is, are transaction fees replacing the block subsidy in the block reward? So are newly minted coins, are they, as those decrease, is that value being replaced by the subsidy? And so we can calculate that. That would be our primary KPI. So you could look at transaction fees over the subsidy, transaction fees in a block divided by the subsidy, and you brought up that that's at 9%. If we look at that historically and we make it like a rolling 60-day to smooth it out a little bit, and we look at this over time on a log curve, it's very much trending in the right direction, where 11x sounds like a lot, but Bitcoin moves in really intense cycles where we've all seen it go from 1,000 to 10,000 or 20,000. When that happens, that means there's not an equivalent, but a directional rise in transactions and transaction fees. And so we have seen transaction fees replace the subsidy over time. And so it very much is trending in the right direction to where over the next couple halving cycles, we should see it start to predominantly be the value that is compensated to the miners in the block reward. If Bitcoin doesn't become adopted, if it remains a more niche sort of a service for humankind where only, let's say 20 million people use it, well, then its long-term security will be weak. If Bitcoin is the world reserve currency that doesn't have a strong security model, like there's not a lot of monetary compensation in the block reward due to transaction fees, well, will that be a bad scenario? Well, it's an impossible scenario, because if it is the world reserve currency, there will be very, very many layer one transaction fees.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like you think it is possible people might consider that because, or rather, it's possible that the the amount in transaction fees will maybe not be enough on layer 1 to replace the block reward when the time comes.
There we go. You heard it here first. There won't be enough transactions on layer 1 because they've restricted the block size. He even explains it himself. Absolutely crazy. Right, I've just seen the time. I've really got to shoot off, so we're just going to whiz through these. Yeah, so Bitcoin is currently 11.5% of the overall transactions on the entire shit show. That is going up. Loving that. Just for you, Nouriel, we'll go for transactions. Look at this. This is Bitcoin over 3 years on a log curve. Boom, look at that. Beautiful. Love that. Love that. Scaling test network. 100. Yeah, just checking the megabyte block sizes and the transactions per second on the main net. Yeah. Trends.cash. Ooh, abs ranking by money spent. Relay-X run. City on chain. Normally TDXP is absolutely destroying this lot. Good to see some competition on there. Abs ranking by performed action. Crypto Fight's massive. My goodness me. Loving that. CryptoQuant just shows you all the exchanges cashing out of their BTC because they know it's an absolute piece of shit. They've been doing it for years because they want to get rid of it before the market realizes that. Joe Who's Mean Pool, this is what a memory pool is meant to look like. What it's not meant to look like is an actual swimming pool. Well, actually, it doesn't look too much like a swimming pool, but it still looks like an absolute bag of shit because they're not being cleared very efficiently. And this is what it generates, like this absolute shit show. Dear oh dear, look at low fee line there on Ethereum. Where's the low fee? Oh, there's the low fee line on CoreCoin. Look at all these transactions unconfirmed. What a joke! What a joke! Look at our own shit show. Yeah, I mean, look at the amount of money that the Federal Reserve has printed since April. April 2020. Unbelievable. More continue that they didn't want us to see. Yeah. So knowing that Bitcoin is the only thing that can save us, how are we feeling about it this morning? 80%. Feeling good. Loving that. Let's have a look at the depth chart. So 6.9 bids versus 5 billion asks. Oh, that money price going up. Oh, loving that. Let's have a look at Shivanex. So BSV USD. This is BTC USD. Let's have a look at BTC, BSV. Oh, the BSV holding its own. Loving that. Yeah, okay. We'll just look at the shitcoin market. Sea of green there. Sea of green. Let's check Bitcoin. Ethereum Classic's above it now. 5.3 versus 4.6. All right. My own statistics. 548 or 81 new subscribers in the last 28 days, heading in the right direction. Loving that. Streamanity. 284. Oh, we'll have a quick look at Twitch while we're here. There we go. Just new signups with only 58 yesterday. We'll have a quick look, see where we are today. Funny memes on Twitch. Do enjoy those. So we are now looking for Acorn Stack. New users 98. That's alright, better than a poke in the eye with a sheet stick. And Twitter, just quickly. I'll have a look at Ruthie's tweet. How's it doing? Here we go, Ruthie's, man. Just got to like it. Part of my daily ritual. Are we over 960 today? 967. Loving that. And Arman Satoshi. How's he doing? 78,600. That was, I'm sure that was like 79 the other day. But yeah, there we go. Right, peeps. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're up to date with the figures. Gotta go. Catch you guys later. Get paid for posting your pics on Relica. Download the app now at www.getrelica.com. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Support independent content creators on micropayment platforms such as Streamanity, Twitch and Relica. We should profit from our data, not the large corporations who track, monitor and sell it. If you enjoy the Bitcoin content that I produce, please support me by heading over to www.satoshi.tv, where you can keep up to date with all the latest news, gossip and content as it's created. Thanks very much. To get started in Bitcoin, go to freebsv.com, where you can claim your free Bitcoin. Then head over to Twitter and follow @IamSatoshi, where you can take part in his very generous and world famous free giveaways. The future of advertising meets the power of Bitcoin at Tonic Pow. Get paid for posting advertising campaigns to your social media profiles. Go to www.tonicpowads.com.